And into Jadabia. So Ras Nouaf at the moment does not have any hospital. Mr. Gaddafi forces has landed using a very big ship, which we thought it was an oil tanker. It exactly resembles oil tankers, but is painted as a gray color, and has landed about 12 boats, rubber dinghy boats, filled with soldiers, which they landed into the city, on the shores of the city.
Well, NATO and the European Union have given the green light to send warships to the Mediterranean off Libya's coast. But debate continues over declaring a no-fly zone. Britain and France have backed the plan, but the US expressed deep reservations. Alan Fisher reports now from Brussels.
NATO is not about to go it alone. Call from member nations for a no-fly zone in Libya have been getting louder, but the organisation's Secretary-General says three principles must be met before NATO can take action.
Firstly, there has to be demonstrable need for NATO action. Secondly, there has to be a clear legal basis. And thirdly, there has to be firm regional support.
The Americans want a United Nations resolution. The Russians want details of how a no-fly zone would work. Others just want some information.
It's always a difficult subject. I'm waiting to hear what will be said today. I don't have any preconceived ideas.
NATO would take the lead in any action to cripple Colonel Gaddafi's air defences and air force. But NATO and European politicians want support from the African Union and other Middle East countries, because the last thing they want is this to be seen as Western military action against an Arab nation.
We do not want to get sucked into a war in North Africa. We want to have freedom, we want to support peace, and therefore we have to decide careful and wise. And this means we always should think about the end of the development which starts now.
Military experts say they could have a no-fly zone above Libya up and running in 2 to 3 days. The politicians are the ones who first have to give the green light. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera, Brussels.
France has recognised the opposition National Council based in Benghazi as Libya's rightful government after President Sarkozy met council delegates in Paris. More now from Tim Friend.
After being accused of being slow to react to the revolutions in Tunisia and Egypt, the French president has moved quickly to silence his critics and take the lead in reprisals against Colonel Gaddafi. Meeting representatives of the rebels at the Elysee Palace, he promised them immediate diplomatic recognition.
France has expressed its satisfaction about the creation of the Libyan National Transition Council. And after this meeting with President Sarkozy, I can say that France has recognized the Transitional National Council as the legitimate representation of the Libyan people.
The French plan is reported to include proposing limited airstrikes against key Gaddafi targets, such as his headquarters and a military airbase. There was no official confirmation from President Sarkozy's office, and it's a highly controversial proposal that would meet with strong resistance from many European allies, who are also wary of giving the rebel representatives diplomatic recognition at this stage.
That's a decision by a single government. I think it's better for us to listen to the stance of the entire European community.
The Elysee Palace says that Mr. Sarkozy is seeking legal authority to prevent the use of force by Gaddafi. It believes that jamming his communications would be a good start. Tim Friend, Al Jazeera, Paris.
Well, we can now speak to a Libyan political analyst and opposition activist, Wahid Burshan. For security reasons, he's asked us not to reveal his exact location inside Libya. Thanks so much for joining us. The fighting it does seem to be dragging out now in Libya, doesn't it? How are people perceiving it?
Well, clearly the Libyans have made their choice as to see beyond Gaddafi, and they are looking to do so. So they're willing, I guess, in a way, paying the price, and the price is very dear for them. But they do feel that they need to do this and complete, I guess, the journey.
As you no doubt know, a lot of debate and discussion going on in the international community about what sort of intervention, if any, could be taken. How eager are people inside Libya for foreign intervention?
Well, I would say most of the Libyans feel that foreign intervention is probably not desirable. But some people do feel that an assistance is definitely required. They do clearly feel that having some assistance to empower the resistance. In terms of some of the things that mentioned, sort of like smart, I would say, a no-fly zone kind of a mechanism, where they make sure that they are not having a good cover, and they will be able to do the task themselves.
And from what you've seen and heard from what's going on the ground, is the feeling inside Libya that the rebels may be losing the momentum, losing ground?
No, not at all. This is the fascinating part, and I'm speaking here to be very impartial in terms of what's happening. The Libyans do feel that the time is up for Gaddafi, and they feel that that they need to finish this, and they're very excited. So obviously, the parts of Libya who really felt the freedom, they feel very, very strong, and they feel that they're extremely energetic. People are looking for the future. They're looking to build the country. So talking to a lot of them from around the country, they really feel that the end is near, and they just need to clean up the internal mess, if you will.
All right, Wahid Burshan, thanks for talking to us from inside Libya. Libyan state television says 3 Dutch Marines who were captured in Libya are to be released. The report was on screen over a TV report on the channel Libya. A Greek official says they will be flown to Greece after their release. The Marines were captured in northern Libya in February as they tried to evacuate 2 civilians by helicopter. The United States says it's monitoring the situation in Saudi Arabia after police opened fire on protesters. People had rallied in the eastern city of Al-Qatif, calling for political reform and for the release of 9 political prisoners. Websites have called for a day of rage on Friday, but Saudi authorities say they won't tolerate protests. Bernard Smith reports.
A rare demonstration in eastern Saudi Arabia. This footage, supplied to the Associated Press, can't be independently verified. It's believed to be from Qatif city on Wednesday night. This restive region is home to mainly Shia Muslims. Neighbouring Bahrain is 70% Shia and has been racked by weeks of protests. These scenes are just the sort of contagion feared by Saudi Arabia's Sunni Muslim leaders. And so, in a region where most rulers have extremely deep pockets, the Gulf Cooperation Council has decided to try and buy itself out of trouble.